Welcome back to Hook Crochet's tutorials. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to finish your shamrock, your crochet lace shamrock, with a traditional finish, which is going to be this one right here, where you finish with this crochet ring stitched into the center of the shamrock, and then I'll show you how to stitch a brooch pin into the back of your shamrock. So you can pick up these brooch pins in lots of craft stores and things like that, but also you could upcycle an old brooch. So I'm going to use this little one here. I'll set that aside. Now firstly we're going to work our ring. So it's going to be a ring of 24 double crochet. Okay, so we need to cut a packing cord first. Normally you work over just 2 cords, but for the center of this ring we want it just a little bit more padded, so it's a bit more standy outy, a bit more 3D. So I've cut 2 lengths of they're about 3 crochet hooks long, so it's plenty, and then fold them in half, and we'll have 4 cords to work over. So we're going to get our green thread first. I'm going to use the same color thread. This is the shamrock we're going to finish. I'm going to use the same color thread for the center ring. So let's get a slip stitch onto our hook, and then I want to get the packing cord on straight away. So looking for the middle of the packing cord, working into those 2 strands. Oops, and I'm going to work a slip stitch. So I'm going to slip stitch onto that there and then pull this nice and tight. Now over the 4 strands of cord we're going to work 24 double crochet. So 24 double crochet all the way around, and then joining back to the first double crochet with a slip stitch. You can see it's a lot thicker. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, whoops, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Now we're going to join back to the first one just with a slip stitch. So slip stitch back into the first one there. Like so. I'm going to do a little chain and I'm ready to cut. Now pull that nice and tight and pull the first one nice and tight. Now watch this. We're going to pull the cord this time as tight as we can. Nice and tight ring there, like so. I'm going to leave the end because I'm going to use that to stitch it onto the main shamrock, but I'm just going to grab a sewing needle and the very starting piece. I'm going to get this sewing needle on that there, so the bit that we started with, I'm going to stitch that back into itself. It just makes the circle a bit more uniform, so there's no step in it. So I'm going to pick up 2 stitches there. Like so. Keep it nice and tight and double it. So that's super secure. Now I'm just going to thread it through a couple of stitches before I cut it. That should be enough. I think I got into 4 double crochet there in one go. Pull it through and then we can cut that piece. like so. Keep that padding cord pulled nice and tight and pull it in towards the back. You can stitch in a couple of strands from the padding cord just to really keep that secure, but I'm just going to stitch over it as I work into the center of this shamrock. Now I kept the center thread, the very start of it, so I'm going to use this one to stitch in the brooch pin. Now get your sewing needle again. Make sure the right side is up so your double crochets are facing out. Get the hook on there, or the needle. Now, lovely. So, ready to work the ring into the center of the shamrock. So, work in through a double crochet and through to the other side of the shamrock, all the way through. Pull it nice and tight and back up. So you're just going to zigzag this all the way around. Does not have to be in every single stitch, not at all. Every second or third or fourth stitch is absolutely fine, but on the front do work into the second stitch, but when it's at the back, the bit that you won't see, definitely skip a few stitches. Don't make life hard. Like so. Lovely. And then I'm going to cut that cord when I'm finished stitching this on. Not a fan of doing the stitching in bits. Loved crochet, but I'm not a fan of doing the stitching in of the loose ends. I find it's the most time consuming, actually. I think I should be about there now. Back to the start again. Yeah. So I'm going to work this through to the back. Where I can just stitch it in to finish it. Like so. And that's ready to be cut. Like so. Now I'm going to keep this green one, not cut that one, because that's what I'm using to stitch in the brooch pin. I am, however, cutting the cord off now. What happened to these bits? I'll have to get the small scissors at these ones. Now, I reckon that's secure enough anyway. Now we're ready to stitch on the brooch pin. So, sewing needle, just making use of the loose threads that I'll have to stitch in anyway. So I'm going to work this up to the top of the shamrock, and I think we'll work the sewing in of the brooch pin between this shamrock here, the top shamrock, so up on the top bit here so that it won't be seen through the shamrock. So just picking up this brooch pin. These are handy ones, don't know what they're called. You could order them online. I ordered a bag of them years ago and it's just like a never-ending bag. I've made so many brooches. So basically just going to work in and out, back and forth, like so, until we get our brooch on. And you know, 3 or 4 times is plenty really. In and out. Like so. And I think I'm gonna just leave it there, to be honest. So I'm gonna finish by threading in this end. I think I'll thread it in here on the other side. Find a place nice and hidden to thread it in. So I might just thread it in under this ring right here. It's always better to find somewhere at the back to thread it in, but as long as it's hidden, no one will ever know. And then it's ready to be cut off. Like so. So there we have a shamrock brooch. Gorgeous gift for somebody. Another idea is you can use some fabric glue and glue the whole shamrock onto, you know, a nice bit of fabric or felt, and it really shows up the stitches. And then you can stitch your brooch pin into the fabric before you glue it on. And you can also stitch in these little jewels or buttons into the center if you didn't want to go down the traditional route and stitch in the traditional ring. Yeah, so loads of options there. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and stay tuned, we've got loads more coming up. Best of luck.